When you decide you want more from life, that you want to consistently create wealth, one of the first things you need to understand is that wealth doesn't appear by chance. Wealth is a state of consciousness, a thought pattern, and a way of acting that people who truly possess money understand and apply daily. Throughout this content, you will discover that wealth begins long before money appears in your pocket or bank account. It begins with how you think, how you talk to yourself, how you structure your habits and beliefs about what is possible for you. There is no magic formula, but there is logic and consistency. There is a way of thinking that, when fully absorbed, changes how reality presents itself, and most importantly, how you react to the challenges of financial life. And that's what this unique book you need in 2026 will talk about. How to put your mind in wealth mode, how to transform your thinking into a magnet for opportunities, and how to gradually leave the scarcity mindset behind once and for all. Before we delve into the teachings, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect. What does being rich truly mean to you? Is wealth simply having a lot of money in the bank, or is it something deeper like having freedom of time, choice, and impact? People who achieve consistent wealth understand that money is a consequence of a strengthened inner state, a disciplined mind, and habits that sustain that state. Wealth begins with accepting that you are deserving, that you can think big, and that you can use your mental energy to attract what you desire. Often, people desire money, but internally believe they don't deserve it, that they aren't capable, that they aren't lucky. These thoughts undermine any attempt at progress. Money doesn't respond to beliefs of inadequacy, fear, or doubt. Money responds to clarity, conviction, focus, and consistent action. And it is precisely this clarity that we will begin to build together. Now, before continuing with the teachings, make sure you've subscribed to the channel, turned on notifications, and stayed until the end of this content, because what you're about to absorb could be a turning point in how you understand wealth. If you believe you were born to enjoy all that life has to offer, if you feel deep down a flame that says, "I want, I can, I deserve," then write in the comments, "I am ready to prosper," and repeat aloud right now, "I am ready to prosper." This is not just a motivational shout, it's an affirmation that begins to align your internal system with the reality you want to create. The more you verbalize your intentions with conviction, the more your mind begins to work to achieve what you are saying. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. From this moment on, everything you hear is an invitation to transform your mind into fertile ground where wealth can be born and grow. The central theme of this unique book is the wealth mindset. A wealth mindset is a set of thought habits that systematically directs your mental energy to recognize opportunities, develop confidence, and create pathways to attract prosperity. This means that every morning, before anything else, you begin in a state of gratitude for what you already have, not for what you lack. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for aligning your mind with states of abundance. Instead of focusing on what isn't working, you begin to train your attention on what already works, what you have already achieved, what is already in your favor. And this simple act changes your internal vibration from scarcity to abundance. The human mind works like a detector. What you feed your attention is what you begin to attract. If you feed thoughts of fear about money, you attract more fear. If you feed thoughts of confidence and possibilities, you begin to see doors opening, ideas emerging, connections happening. One of the keys to activating a wealth mindset is affirmation. Affirmation is an intentional statement that you repeat until your subconscious mind begins to accept it as truth. By repeating powerful affirmations like, "I am worthy of wealth," "I deserve prosperity in all aspects of my life," "I attract money easily and joyfully," you are reprogramming your mind to replace limiting beliefs with beliefs that support financial growth. It's not about denying reality, but about training your brain to focus on possibilities instead of obstacles. It's important that you make these affirmations aloud, with feeling, every day. Repetition is what creates the new internal programming. And when your mind is aligned, your actions also begin to change naturally, because you start acting according to what you believe is possible for you. Now that you've begun to understand the power of your words and thoughts, I want you to feel the difference between wishing for money and believing that you can actually attract it. Wishing is a passive state, believing is an active state. People with a money mindset don't wish from afar, they believe closely. They talk about wealth as something present, as if it were already part of their lives. And this difference in internal language is what separates those who always stay in the same place from those who finally break free from the cycle of scarcity towards financial consistency. From now on, every thought you have about money should be a seed that you consciously plant, hoping to reap the fruits of prosperity in the near future. The mind has the power to expand or limit everything you experience. And when we talk about wealth, what exists most is not a lack of money in the world, but rather the difficulty many people have in seeing themselves as someone who can prosper. There is a kind of invisible block that prevents most from moving forward. And this block is not in the bank, not in the government, not in the neighbor. It's in the way that person thinks daily. A person's external reality is a direct reflection of their internal world. Everything you have today or don't have is the result of how your mind has been programmed to deal with money and opportunities. When you begin to understand this deeply, you realize that you don't need luck. You need clarity. Clarity about your thoughts, clarity about your emotions, and clarity about the type of message you send to the universe every day through your actions and decisions. People who live with a scarcity mindset repeat the same behavior without realizing it. They complain about everything, speak ill of money, say that life is unfair, that it's very difficult to grow, that everything goes wrong for them. And their brains, like obedient machines, begin to produce more of what is being programmed. More difficulty, more scarcity, more obstacles. This isn't magic, it's brain function. What you repeat becomes a belief, and belief becomes a filter. You begin to see the world according to the filter you are using. Someone who believes that money is hard to come by will see difficulty in any attempt to improve their life. Someone who believes that money is an energy that can be attracted with focus and discipline will begin to perceive new ways of organizing their financial life, new ways of thinking, acting, and reacting. And here's a detail that few people stop to consider. The brain cannot distinguish between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. This means that when you spend hours of your day ruminating on problems, reliving failures, anticipating financial catastrophes, your body and mind are experiencing it as if it were real at that exact moment. Your nervous system goes into a state of alert, your stress hormones are released, and your capacity for creative reasoning decreases drastically. You literally train your body to live in scarcity, even if it's not happening in the present moment. And the worst part, you do this for free without anyone forcing you, simply out of habit of feeding destructive thoughts. Now consider the opposite. Imagine someone who dedicates a few minutes each day to visualizing a prosperous life, allowing themselves to feel the emotion of achieving their goals, visualizing positive conversations, opportunities arising, and money arriving in unexpected ways. This person is training their brain to recognize possibilities. They are conditioning their nervous system to a state of confidence and openness. And when you are in this state, your decisions change completely. You no longer act out of desperation. You act strategically. You don't accept just anything for fear of losing. You choose with discernment. You don't unconsciously sabotage yourself. You move with clear intention. There's a very powerful practice that few people apply consistently: mindful observation. This means you begin to pay real attention to the thoughts you nurture throughout the day. When you notice a negative thought, you don't fight it, you simply replace it. You replace a thought of doubt with a thought of conviction. You replace a thought of fear with a thought of possibility. This seems small, but it's what transforms the foundation of your mindset. Little by little, you'll develop the habit of thinking like someone who sees paths. And thinking like someone who sees paths is the first step to starting to walk with direction. But let's delve even deeper into this practice. Conscious observation isn't just about noticing a negative thought and mechanically replacing it with a positive one. It's about understanding where that thought comes from. Often these mental patterns were instilled in your childhood. Perhaps you grew up hearing that money doesn't grow on trees, that the rich only get rich by exploiting others, that the poor are poor because God willed it so, that there's no point in dreaming big because you weren't born for it. These phrases, repeated by people you loved and trusted, became absolute truths in your mind, and you don't even question them anymore. You simply live as if they were natural laws of the universe. When you begin to question these inherited beliefs, when you realize they aren't yours, that you simply absorb them without critical filtering, you gain immense power, the power to choose again. You can decide that from now on, you will believe that money is an abundant resource in the world, that there are infinite ways to generate it, that its origin doesn't determine its destiny, that you can learn any skill necessary to prosper. And when you decide to truly believe this, not just intellectually but emotionally, your reality begins to reorganize itself around this new belief. Another point that many people ignore is the power of language. The way you talk about money, about your life, about your future, shapes the reality you live in. When you say things like, "I never have money," "Everything is too expensive," "My life is too difficult," you are repeating codes that reinforce scarcity. The brain understands that what is being said is true and begins to act according to that truth. Now, when you start changing those phrases to statements like, "Money comes to me in unexpected ways," "I have the wisdom to manage my finances," "Every day I get closer to the life I want," you are installing a new mindset. This needs to be done every day with intention. Intention is the fuel for change. It's no use repeating things just for the sake of repeating them. You need to feel what you are saying. Believe that it is possible. Even if it seems distant now, you are planting seeds, and these seeds need fertile soil to grow. The fertile soil of your mind is created through consistency. It's no use making powerful affirmations for 3 days and then going back to complaining about your life for 3 weeks. It doesn't work that way. Mental change requires disciplined repetition until the new pattern becomes stronger than the old one. It's like learning a new language. At first, you need to think hard to form a simple sentence. But with daily practice, there comes a point when you think in that language effortlessly. The same happens with the language of prosperity. At first, it will seem forced to say, "I deserve abundance," when your account is empty. But if you persist, if you continue declaring it even when external evidence says otherwise, your mind begins to accept it as a real possibility. And possibilities become realities when you act in alignment with them. Let's do a simple exercise now. Close your eyes for a few seconds, take a deep breath, and imagine what your life would be like if you had all the financial freedom you desire. Imagine the details. Where would you be? How would you feel? What would your routine, your house, your clothes, your friends be like? The more details you put into this mental image, the more your mind begins to believe that it is possible. And when the mind believes, it begins to move towards it. The brain doesn't distinguish between something real and something imagined with emotion. That's why visualization is so powerful. It prepares the mental ground for external changes. Now open your eyes and declare, "I am building my financial reality with awareness and power." But don't just stop at superficial visualization. Go deeper. Feel the fabric of the clothes you would be wearing in this prosperous life. Listen to the sounds around you. Maybe it's the sound of the sea if you're in a beach house. Maybe it's the silence of a private office where you work on your own projects. Maybe it's the laughter of the people you love at a dinner party you organized without worrying about the menu price. Feel the texture of the life you desire. Smell the scents. Feel the ambient temperature. The more real you make this mental experience, the more your brain will treat it as a possible destination and start looking for ways to get you there. This type of statement strengthens the identity of someone who doesn't depend on external factors to prosper. And the truth is, those who build true wealth aren't lucky, but those with a strong mental identity. You need to start seeing yourself as someone who can, someone who is capable, someone who has value. And that value isn't in how much you earn now, it's in how much you believe you can grow. Often growth begins even before money increases. It starts with small daily decisions to stop complaining, comparing yourself, and sabotaging yourself. It starts with the simple habit of gratitude. Gratitude is the recognition of what already exists that is good, and this recognition attracts more good things. When you start to be grateful, even if you have little, you open a mental space for more. Ungrateful people don't prosper because they are always focused on what's lacking. And those who focus on what's lacking don't see the doors that are opening. Gratitude has a proven neurological effect. When you practice genuine gratitude, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters associated with well-being and happiness. This not only improves your mood, but also increases your ability to make better decisions, to see previously overlooked opportunities, and to have the energy to act when a chance arises. Someone who is constantly complaining and dissatisfied has their brain flooded with cortisol, the stress hormone, which literally diminishes cognitive and creative capacity. You can't think of innovative solutions when you're stressed. You just react, usually impulsively and harmfully. Therefore, start your day with gratitude, even if it's something simple like waking up, having health, having a roof over your head, having food in the refrigerator. These things seem basic, but they are fundamental. And when you recognize the value of what you already have, you automatically raise your vibrational frequency. You leave the victim state and enter the state of co-creator of your reality. You stop waiting for someone else to solve your life and take full responsibility for it. And full responsibility doesn't mean guilt. It means power. It means that you recognize that your choices matter, that your thoughts matter, that your words matter. The daily practice of affirmations, visualizations, and gratitude may seem too simple to be effective, but that's precisely what makes this method powerful. It's not about doing something extraordinary for one day, but about doing the simple things every day with intention. Imagine someone who plants a seed today and wants to harvest it tomorrow. That person will pull the seed out of the ground and say it doesn't work. But someone who understands the timing of things, who waters, who cares for, who keeps the soil fertile, will harvest at the right time. The same happens with your mind. You need to persist with the new programming until it becomes natural. And when it becomes natural, you will act with more ease, with more courage, with more clarity. And this will inevitably be reflected in better results. And here's a secret that few understand. Inner change always precedes outer change. Always. There are no exceptions to this rule. You will never attract a prosperous financial reality if internally you still feel poor, incapable, unworthy. Because your external actions are driven by your internal beliefs. If deep down you believe you don't deserve it, you will unconsciously sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. You will procrastinate on that important project. You will charge less than your work is worth. You will spend everything you earn to prove to yourself that you really can't accumulate. You will associate with people who drag you down. All of this happens on autopilot when your internal programming is still set for scarcity. It's also important that you stop identifying with scarcity. This means you need to stop presenting yourself as someone who suffers, who can't succeed, who lives broken. How you see yourself is what you transmit, and what you transmit is what you attract. Start presenting yourself as someone who is growing, who is learning, who is under construction. Use empowering words. Replace "I'm trying" with "I'm doing." Replace "I wanted" with "I'm pursuing" with focus. This change alters your vibration, and changing your vibration changes your decisions, and your decisions change your results. Think about how you present yourself in everyday conversations. When someone asks, "How are you?" what's your automatic response? If it's something like surviving, struggling, or getting by, you're reinforcing an identity of hardship. Try responding with, "I'm building amazing things," "I'm growing every day," or "I'm at the peak of my journey." At first it might seem strange, especially if the people around you are used to your old narrative, but you're not lying. You're choosing to focus on what's working, what's evolving, and the potential of what's to come. And that choice of focus completely changes your energy. Another fundamental practice is the complaining fast. Choose a period, maybe a week to start, where you won't complain about absolutely anything. Not the traffic, not your boss, not the government, not the weather, not your family, nothing. When the urge to complain arises, and it will arise many times, take a deep breath and transform it into a neutral or positive statement. Instead of, "This traffic is awful," say, "I'm using this time to listen to something that adds value to me." Instead of, "My job is hell," say, "I'm gaining experience and soon I'll be in something better." This exercise will show you how much you live in complaining mode without even realizing it. And each complaint is a vote of confidence in scarcity, difficulty, and suffering. If you've made it this far, I want you to write in the comments, "My mind is ready to attract wealth." This written statement reinforces your commitment to inner change. Remember, wealth begins in the mind. Money is just the visible effect of a strengthened inner state, and you have the full capacity to create this state every day through the decisions you make about what to think, what to say, and how to act. And finally, understand that this journey is not linear. There will be days when you feel powerful, aligned, confident, and there will be days when doubt hits hard, when you question whether this really works, when external reality seems stronger than your inner faith. These days are part of the process. Don't use these moments as an excuse to give up. Use them as opportunities to strengthen your determination. On these difficult days, return to basic practices. Make your affirmations with even more conviction. Visualize with even more detail. Give thanks with even more sincerity, because it is precisely in moments of testing that you build the unwavering mindset that will lead you to the results you desire. True wealth is not just about having money. It's about having a mind so strong, so resilient, so full of faith in your abilities that nothing external can bring you down. And when you reach this level of inner strength, money is just a natural consequence of who you have become. Now that you've begun reprogramming your mind to think about wealth, it's crucial to delve into something few people truly value: habits. Many people think wealth depends solely on a major event, an opportunity, a sudden turnaround. But those who study and observe people who have achieved true financial stability and prosperity realize that it wasn't luck or an isolated event that made the difference, but rather a set of daily habits that are repeated, strengthened, and, over time, transformed into visible results. Wealth is a consequence of a mental and practical lifestyle. And the foundation of this lifestyle lies in small behaviors that you repeat every day, even if no one is watching, even if nothing seems to be changing yet. And here's the truth most people ignore. It's not the big sporadic actions that build empires, it's the small consistent actions that nobody sees. It's that moment when you wake up and, instead of immediately grabbing your phone to see negative news or social media that drains your energy, you dedicate 5 minutes to affirming who you are becoming. It's when you receive an unexpected bill and instead of panicking and complaining about everything and everyone, you take a deep breath, stay calm, and look for a strategic solution. It's when you're tired after a hard day and still choose to read a few pages of a book that teaches you about money, instead of collapsing on the couch and watching anything that dulls your mind. These moments are what truly define your financial destiny. Think about it. How many people do you know who started the year saying they were going to change their lives, that they were going to save money, that they were going to invest, that they were going to learn something new to earn more? And how many of those people actually changed? The difference between those who change and those who stay in the same place isn't the size of their desire, but the strength of their habit. Desire without habit is just fantasy. It's like wanting to have a defined body, but not creating a workout routine. It's like wanting to play an instrument, but not practicing daily. It's like wanting to be fluent in another language, but only studying when you feel like it. It doesn't work that way. Reality doesn't bend to your desires. Reality bends to your habits. One of the most transformative habits someone can develop is taking full responsibility for their own life. This seems simple, but most people live blaming others for their reality. They blame the government, their parents, the city, the school, the past, their friends, their bosses. When you blame someone or something outside of yourself, you surrender your power. And when you surrender your power, you also surrender your ability to change. Taking full responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything, but recognizing that regardless of what happened, you now have the power to choose how you will deal with it. This mindset is liberating. You don't wait for perfect conditions to change. You understand that you can start with what you have, where you are, in whatever way is possible. And see how this works in practice. 2 people lose their jobs on the same day. Both have bills to pay, responsibilities, and real reasons to worry. The first person enters a cycle of victimhood. They complain about everything, tell everyone how unfair the company was, how tough the market is, how nothing ever works out in their life. They spend weeks, sometimes months, in this state of lamentation, and while they are lamenting, opportunities pass them by without them realizing it, because their mental frequency is tuned to defeat. The second person, on the other hand, allows themselves to feel the frustration for a moment, but quickly changes focus. They ask, "What can I do now? What skills can I learn? What contacts can I activate? What service can I offer?" while looking for another position. This person takes full responsibility for the situation and within weeks is already in motion, already creating new possibilities. The difference between these two people isn't in the external circumstances. It's in how each one chose to respond internally. And that internal choice is a habit, a thought habit that strengthens each time it's practiced. Every time you choose to take responsibility instead of blaming, you strengthen that mental muscle. Every time you choose to seek solutions instead of drowning in problems, you're training your brain to operate in prosperity mode. And over time, this becomes so natural that you don't even need to think much about it. You automatically respond to adversity with strength, creativity, and determination. Another powerful habit that strengthens your wealth mindset is emotional discipline. Emotionally undisciplined people react impulsively to everything. If something doesn't work out, they give up. If someone says something negative, they are shaken. If an obstacle appears, they retreat. And this undermines any chance of building something solid. Wealth requires a stable mind, balanced emotions. This doesn't mean you won't feel fear, doubt, anger, or frustration, but it means you won't let these feelings control your decisions. Emotional discipline is built on self-knowledge. It's about looking inward and recognizing your emotions, but deciding clearly, not impulsively. Whoever masters their emotions masters life. Whoever lets themselves be carried away by them lives in circles. Understand something profound. Your emotions are messengers, not commanders. They bring important information about how you are processing the reality around you, but they shouldn't be the only voices that determine your actions. When you feel fear, for example, that fear may be telling you that there is a real risk that needs to be assessed, or it may simply be reflecting an old limiting belief that still inhabits your mind. A person with emotional discipline can make this distinction. They feel the fear, acknowledge its presence, but don't allow it to paralyze them. They ask, "Is this fear based on something real, or is it just my mind trying to keep me in my comfort zone?" And from this conscious analysis, they decide whether to move forward or retreat. The same goes for anger, anxiety, and sadness. All these emotions have their place and function, but when you allow them to dominate your financial decisions, you are creating a pattern of self-sabotage. How many people do you know who, when they are sad or anxious, go out and buy things they don't need just to feel better momentarily? How many people make impulsive investments when they are euphoric without properly analyzing the risks? How many people abandon promising projects just because they had a bad week and felt discouraged? All of this is a lack of emotional discipline. And this lack is costly, literally. Developing emotional discipline requires daily practice. A powerful technique is the conscious pause. Before reacting to any situation that causes you a strong emotion, take a pause. Breathe deeply 3 times. In that space between stimulus and response lies your power of choice. In that space, you can decide whether you will react on emotional autopilot or whether you will respond consciously and strategically. It seems simple, but this pause changes everything. It takes you out of reactive mode and puts you in creative mode. And in creative mode, you always find better solutions. You also need to cultivate the habit of feeding your mind with content that strengthens your vision for the future. Stop consuming things that reinforce poverty, fear, and limitation. TV programs that only show tragedy, music that speaks of suffering, conversations with people who only know how to complain. All of this shapes your mental energy. And mental energy shapes decisions. Decisions shape results. Replace this with books, audios, videos, and conversations that uplift your mind, that make you think of solutions, that inspire you to grow. Do this every day. Repetition is the secret. The more you feed your mind with richness, the more you begin to think like someone who creates wealth. Let's talk about this even more clearly. Your mind is like a garden. What you plant in it will grow. If you spend hours a day consuming content about crimes, betrayals, wars, economic crises, natural disasters, your mental garden will be full of weeds. It will be full of pessimistic thoughts, limiting beliefs, and exaggerated fears. And in that garden, there's no room left for the flowers of prosperity to grow. Now imagine that you spend at least 30 minutes of your day consuming educational, inspiring, and constructive content. You read biographies of people who have overcome great obstacles. You watch videos about financial education. You listen to podcasts about entrepreneurship, investments, and personal development. You participate in conversations with people who are building something meaningful. What happens to your mental garden? It begins to bloom. Ideas, insights, connections, and opportunities begin to grow. And here's a crucial detail. You don't need to wait to have time to do this. You create time for what is a priority. If you prioritize scrolling through social media feeds for an hour before bed, you're saying that entertaining your mind with random content is more important than programming it for success. I'm not saying you can't have leisure time, but I am saying you need to be strategic about what you consume, because everything you consume becomes part of you. It becomes thought, it becomes belief, it becomes action, it becomes result. Another transformative habit is organization. Wealth hates disorder. Where there is mess, there is confusion. And where there is confusion, there is no clarity. And without clarity, no one makes intelligent decisions. Organize your environment, your accounts, your commitments, your schedule. This sends a signal to your brain that you are in control. And when the brain feels it is in control, it relaxes and works better. An organized mind makes better decisions, sees opportunities more easily, and doesn't despair when something goes wrong. External organization reflects internal organization, and the more you organize your life, the more prepared you become to receive what you desire. Think about it. What's your workspace like right now? What's your bedroom like? What's your computer desktop like? What's the state of your financial files? If the answer is a mess, you already know where to start. And this isn't about obsessive perfectionism. It's about creating systems that make your life easier. When everything has its place, when you know exactly where each important document is, when your routine has a clear structure, you free up mental energy. You stop wasting time looking for things, forgetting appointments, and being late due to disorganization. And this mental energy that you save can be directed towards what really matters: creating, producing, planning, and executing. Financial organization is especially important. Many people don't prosper simply because they don't know where their money is going. They earn, they spend, and at the end of the month, they don't understand why there's nothing left. Make it a habit to record every penny that comes in and every penny that goes out. This seems like hard work at first, but in a few weeks, you'll start to see patterns. You'll notice where money is leaking. You'll identify unnecessary expenses. You'll be able to make more conscious decisions about your finances, and financial awareness is the first step to financial freedom. You also need to pay attention to the habit of comparison. Comparison is one of the biggest enemies of prosperity. When you compare yourself to others, you are telling yourself that you are not enough, that you are behind, that you should be somewhere else. And this creates a feeling of scarcity and frustration that blocks your progress. The only healthy comparison is with yourself. Where were you 6 months ago? What have you improved? What can you improve now? Growth is personal. Each person has their own time, their own process, their own challenges, and you don't need to fit into anyone else's rhythm. You just need to keep evolving every day, even if in small steps, and see how comparison silently sabotages you. You're building your business, progressing at your own pace, doing the best you can with the resources you have. Then you go on social media and see someone your age who already has 3 companies, travels abroad every month, drives luxury cars. Immediately, that feeling of inadequacy overwhelms you. I should be further along. I'm behind. Why can't I do what that person does? And at that moment, all the energy you had to keep building is drained. You enter a state of discouragement, self-pity, and defeat. and it can take days to recover from that emotional impact. But here's what you're not seeing. You don't know the full story of this person. You don't know if they inherited money, if they had privileged connections, if they're up to their neck in debt to maintain appearances, if they're sacrificing their mental health in exchange for this apparent success. You're comparing your behind the scenes to their stage, and that's deeply unfair to yourself. Furthermore, even if they achieved everything legitimately, that doesn't diminish your value or potential in any way. Their success isn't a limited resource that prevents you from having your own. The universe is abundant. There's room for everyone to thrive. But you need to stop looking to the side and start looking inward and forward. Turn comparison into inspiration. When you see someone who has achieved what you desire, instead of feeling small, ask yourself, what can I learn from this person? What strategies did they use? What habits did they develop? Use the success of others as proof that it's possible, not as evidence of your own inability. This change of perspective changes everything. You move from the role of victim to the role of student, and students learn, evolve, and grow. Repetition. That's the word that needs to be clear in your mind. Everything powerful in life is the result of repetition. It's no use making affirmations for 2 days and then stopping. It's no use visualizing your rich life once and forgetting. It's no use giving thanks one day and complaining the next. Your mind needs consistency to change, and that consistency comes from habit. Habit is what you do even when you don't feel like it. It's when you've already understood that it brings you closer to your best version, so you repeat until it becomes automatic. At first it may seem difficult, but over time it becomes natural. And when it becomes natural, the magic happens. Not because something supernatural is at work, but because your brain has finally learned to operate in a new pattern. Let's use a physical analogy to make this even clearer. Imagine you decide to start running. On the first day, you can barely run for 5 minutes without becoming completely breathless. Your muscles ache, your lungs burn. Everything in your body is telling you to stop. If you only run on that first day and never go back, your body won't change. You'll remain in the same poor physical condition. But if you persevere, if you go for a run 3 times a week, even when you don't feel like it, even when it's cold, even when your friends call you to do something else, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your body adapts, your muscles get stronger, your cardiovascular system improves. In a few weeks, those 5 minutes that were torturous become easy. In a few months, you're running for 30-40 minutes effortlessly. Your body has literally transformed through repetition. The same principle applies to your mind. When you start practicing affirmations, visualizations, gratitude, emotional discipline, and organization, at first it all seems difficult and artificial. It feels like you're just pretending, that it's not making any difference. But if you persist, if you continue practicing every day, your mind begins to adapt. New thought patterns begin to strengthen. Old limiting beliefs begin to weaken. And there comes a point when thinking about abundance, acting with discipline, maintaining focus, all of this becomes as natural as breathing. You no longer need to strive. You simply are someone who thinks and acts prosperously. And here's a powerful truth: you don't need to wait to feel like acting. The desire comes after the action, not before. How many times have you not felt like doing something, but did it anyway? And then the desire appeared after you started. This happens because action generates energy, and energy generates motivation. So stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, the perfect inspiration. Start now, just as you are, with what you have. Perfection is the enemy of action, and without action, there is no transformation. Also, make it a habit to regularly review your progress. Each week, set aside 15 minutes to reflect. What worked well this week? Where did I improve? What challenges arose and how did I deal with them? What can I do differently next week? This conscious review keeps you connected to your evolutionary process. Without it, you may be growing without even realizing it, and end up discouraged because you don't recognize your own progress. The journey to prosperity is not a straight line. There are ups and downs, advances and setbacks. But if you are committed to the right habits, the overall trend will always be one of growth. Now do this. Choose a wealth-building habit to start today. It could be affirmation, visualization, gratitude, organization, or reading positive content. Choose one and write in the comments now. Today I decide to build wealth consciously. By writing this, you reinforce your decision, and a written decision has much more power than a loose thought. Keep this phrase, repeat it every day and begin. Because those who start, even with little, are already far ahead of those who only complain and wait. The decision to change your life is not made in the future. It is made now, at this very moment. Don't wait for motivation. Act, and motivation will come as a consequence of your action. And when you begin, don't expect everything to change overnight. The seeds you plant today will germinate in their own time. Some will sprout quickly, others will take months. But all will grow if you keep watering them, if you keep caring for them, if you keep believing. Wealth is not a destination you reach and that's it, it's over. Wealth is a state of being that you cultivate daily, through your habits, your thoughts, your choices. And the more you practice this state of being, the more it solidifies in your reality, until one day you look around and realize that everything has changed. Not because a miracle happened, but because you have become a different person. And different people attract different realities. That is the law. That is the truth. And this truth is available to you now, at this moment, if you decide to embrace it and live according to it. When we talk about creating wealth, it's impossible not to touch on a fundamental point: how you manage your time. Many people constantly repeat that they don't have time, that they're always busy, that they can't do anything different because the day seems too short. And this type of thinking, besides reinforcing scarcity, reveals one of the biggest obstacles to prospering: disorganized attention. Wealth isn't created in a hurry, but it's also not created through distraction. People who grow financially consistently have learned to respect time as a valuable resource. They don't waste their days on useless tasks. They don't get lost in pointless conversations. They don't throw away precious hours on distractions that lead nowhere. The truth is, everyone has the same 24 hours. The difference lies in what you do with that time. Someone who dedicates 30 minutes a day to training their mind, organizing their thoughts, reviewing their habits, making affirmations, and nurturing their vision for the future, that person is investing in what truly matters. Meanwhile, other people spend that same time scrolling, commenting on other people's lives, watching something that adds nothing, and then complain that life doesn't change. It's not a lack of time, it's a lack of priorities. Those who understand this begin to transform their minutes into tools for growth. You don't need an entire free day. You need to use the few minutes you already have wisely. Use them consciously and consistently. Think about it now. What are you doing with your time every day? What are the first things you do when you wake up? What are your last thoughts before you go to sleep? Who do you spend your energy on? What do you consume on the internet? Each of these answers reveals your current mindset. People with a wealth mindset don't wake up complaining. They don't spend the whole day distracted. They don't feed on negativity. They create a mental and emotional routine focused on results. This doesn't mean living in rigidity or perfection, but living with clarity. Clarity about what is important, clarity about what should be done, clarity about what should be avoided. One of the most practical ways to start changing your relationship with time is to create rituals. A ritual is an action you repeat every day with a purpose. For example, a morning ritual could include 10 minutes of silence to breathe, repeating affirmations, visualizing your ideal life, and feeling gratitude for the good things that already exist. This small act completely changes the quality of your day. Why? Because you start the day telling your mind what is a priority. Instead of waking up and diving straight into problems, you start by training your mind to focus on solutions, progress, and wealth. This type of ritual may seem too simple, but its daily repetition creates a strong mental pattern. And a strong mental pattern sustains positive behavior, which in turn generates concrete results. You can also have a nightly ritual. Before bed, instead of filling your mind with bad news or dwelling on everything that went wrong, you can write down 3 things you are grateful for that day. You can repeat an affirmation like, "I am becoming more and more prosperous," or "Tomorrow will be an even better day than today." These statements put your mind in a state of preparedness. While you sleep, your brain continues to work. If you feed your brain fear, it will work on that. But if you feed it hope, it begins to seek solutions, new ideas, ways to grow. Sleeping with positive thoughts is like planting seeds for the next day. Another important point is understanding that time doesn't go backward. Every day that passes without you investing in your wealth mindset is another day reinforcing scarcity. You don't need to wait for anything anymore. You don't need to wait for Monday, a new month, a new year. The transformation begins now with small changes, and one of the most powerful changes is saying no to what doesn't move you forward. Saying no to empty conversations, to useless distractions, to habits that keep you in the same place. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't help you, you are saying no to your wealth. Learn to protect your time as if it were money, because time, in fact, is worth more than money. You can recover money, but not time. Now I want you to do something simple, yet powerful. Take a pen and paper, or open a note on your phone. Write down what an ideal day for a wealthy person would be like, from the time they wake up until the time they go to sleep. What do they think about when they wake up? What do they do? Who do they talk to? How do they organize their time? How do they behave? Detail this day, and then compare it to your current day, not to judge yourself, but to adjust. Small daily adjustments, made consciously, completely change the course. You don't need to change everything at once, but you need to start changing what you repeat. Wealth is born from the right repetition, with the right thought at the right time. And when I talk about protecting your time, I'm not just talking about avoiding obvious distractions. I'm talking about something deeper. The ability to perceive when you are giving your time to things that drain your energy without return. You know those conversations that leave you feeling heavier than lighter? Those people who only talk about problems, who only complain, who only see the negative side of everything. Every minute you spend in that kind of environment is shaping your vibration. And vibration attracts results. If you live surrounded by scarcity, your mind gets used to scarcity. If you live surrounded by possibilities, your mind begins to see opportunities where before it only saw obstacles. That's why it's so important to consciously choose what you consume. And here I'm not just talking about food, I'm talking about information, content, energy. What are you putting into your head every day? What videos do you watch? What podcasts do you listen to? What books do you read? All of this is programming your mind, whether you realize it or not. If you spend hours consuming tragedy, drama, gossip, your mind starts operating at that frequency. But if you choose to feed your mind with content that teaches, that inspires, that challenges you to grow, your mind starts working in favor of your prosperity. There's a huge difference between being busy and being productive. Many people confuse the two. Being busy is easy. You can spend the whole day answering messages, running around, doing 1,000 things at once, and at the end of the day realize you haven't gotten anywhere. Productivity, on the other hand, is about doing what matters. It's about choosing the activities that truly move you towards your goals. And that requires something most people lack: the discipline to say no. No to emergencies that aren't yours. No to demands that drain your time without yielding results. No to everything that seems important, but actually just keeps you going in circles. Wealthy people know this very well. They don't try to do everything. They do the essentials. They focus on what generates returns. And when I say returns, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about personal growth, mental evolution, emotional well-being. All of this is part of real wealth. You can have a lot of money and be miserable inside, or you can be building true wealth, which includes peace, clarity, purpose, and financial abundance all at the same time. And this complete wealth only comes when you learn to use your time wisely. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine you have a goal to increase your income in the next 6 months. What do you do every day to achieve it? If you can't answer that question clearly and objectively, you already have a problem, because a goal without daily action is just a wish, and a wish without effort doesn't generate results. So if your goal is to increase your income, you need to dedicate time every day to learning something new, applying what you've learned, testing strategies, and adjusting what isn't working. It could be half an hour a day, it could be an hour. The important thing is that it's consistent, because consistency builds competence, and competence attracts opportunity. Now think, How many people do you know who say they want to change their lives, but who don't dedicate even 15 minutes a day to studying, planning, and taking action? These people are waiting for a miracle. They're waiting for something to fall from the sky. But the truth is that miracles happen when preparation meets opportunity. And preparation is done every day, with small, consistent actions. There's no point in wanting to harvest if you're not planting. And planting means using your time intelligently, every day, without exception. And there's another point that needs to be clear. You don't need to wait to be motivated to act. Motivation is an emotion, and emotions come and go. Some days you wake up motivated, some days you don't. But discipline doesn't depend on emotion. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you're feeling. It's waking up and doing your morning ritual even when you want to stay in bed. It's sitting down to study even when it seems boring. It's repeating affirmations even when it doesn't seem to be working. Because the secret isn't in doing it once with a lot of emotion. The secret is in doing it 1,000 times, with or without emotion, until it becomes part of who you are. Do you know what separates someone who achieves wealth from someone who just dreams about it? The ability to persevere even when they don't see immediate results. Most people give up too quickly. They try for a week, 2 weeks, a month, and when they don't see radical change, they abandon it. They go back to their old habits, their old mindset, their old reality, and then they complain that nothing works. But the truth is that everything works as long as you give it enough time. Real change takes time. Mindset transformation doesn't happen overnight, it's a process, and those who respect the process are the ones who achieve results. I'm going to tell you something that can completely change how you see time. Every second you live is a choice. You are choosing all the time. You choose what to think, what to say, what to do, who to be with. And these choices, added up over the days, weeks, and months, create your reality. If you want a different reality, you need to make different choices. It seems obvious, but most people keep doing the same things and expecting different results. That's not optimism, it's insanity. So if you truly want to create wealth, start by paying attention to your daily choices. Choose to wake up earlier to have time to nurture your mind. Choose to avoid people who only talk about scarcity. Choose to consume content that teaches you to grow. Choose to invest your time in learning skills that increase your value. Choose to be grateful for what you already have while working towards what you still want. Each of these choices seems small, but together they build a solid path towards prosperity. And here's something few people talk about. Wealth is also about rest. Yes, you read that right. It's not just about working until you're exhausted. It's about working with focus, resting with quality, and maintaining balance. Because a tired mind doesn't think well. An exhausted body doesn't produce well. You need energy to make intelligent decisions, to have clarity, to act with precision. And energy comes from adequate sleep, mindful eating, and moments of pause. Don't confuse productivity with exhaustion. Productivity is doing more with less effort because you are functioning at your best. That's why the nightly ritual I mentioned earlier is so important. When you end the day with gratitude, with positive thoughts, with the feeling that you did your best, you rest better. And when you rest better, you wake up with more energy. And with more energy, you produce better results. It's a cycle, a virtuous cycle that feeds itself when you learn to nurture it correctly. I have a question I want you to ask yourself honestly right now. If you continue living exactly the way you're living today, will your life be better or the same in a year? If the answer is the same or even worse, then you already know what you need to change. And it's no use waiting for circumstances to change on their own. It's no use waiting for someone to come and save you. Change begins with you, with your choices, with how you use your time, with your mindset. Now let's talk about something that bothers a lot of people, the fear of failure. Many people don't start because they're afraid of making mistakes. They're afraid to invest time in something and it not work out. But I'll tell you a truth. You're already failing. You're failing every day you don't try. You're failing every time you choose distraction instead of action. You're failing every time you repeat the pattern that keeps you stuck. So what's wrong with trying something new? At least by trying, you have a chance of succeeding. By not trying, you guarantee failure. And another thing, Mistakes are part of the process. No one who built wealth got everything right the first time. Everyone makes mistakes, everyone adjusts, everyone learns along the way. The difference is that those who succeed don't give up after the first mistake. They don't give up after the 10th mistake. They keep adjusting, they keep learning, they keep trying. And that's exactly what you need to do. Use the time to experiment, to test, to discover what works for you. There's no magic formula that works for everyone, but there are principles, and principles work for anyone who applies them consistently. I'll give you another powerful exercise. Every Sunday, set aside 30 minutes to plan the following week. Write down the 3 most important activities you need to do that week to get closer to your goals, just 3, and then organize your time to ensure that those 3 things will happen. No matter what else comes up during the week, those 3 need to be done. This creates focus, and focus is one of the greatest assets of anyone who wants to thrive. Because most people live without focus, jumping from one thing to another, trying to do everything and finishing nothing. When you have focus, when you know exactly what your priorities are, it becomes much easier to say no to what doesn't matter. It becomes easier to avoid distractions. It becomes easier to use your time wisely. And at the end of the week, when you look back and see that you've done the 3 most important things, you feel progress. And feeling progress fuels the motivation to continue. It's another virtuous cycle. Now, a troubling point: relationships. Yes, your relationships directly affect your ability to create wealth. If you spend time with people who constantly complain about life, who don't believe in growth, who mock your dreams, you're swimming against the current. I'm not saying you should abandon everyone, but I am saying you should be mindful of who you spend most of your time with, because you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If those 5 people have a scarcity mindset, you will absorb that. If those 5 people have an abundance mindset, you will grow along with them. Sometimes protecting your time means creating distance from people who aren't walking in the same direction as you. And that's not selfishness, it's self-care. It's protecting your energy. It's ensuring you have the mental and emotional space to grow. Because if you're constantly being pulled down, it becomes much harder to rise. And you deserve to rise. You deserve to thrive. But to do that, you need to create the right environment. And environment includes people. Another thing, stop complaining. Seriously, complaining is a waste of time and energy. Every time you complain, you're focusing on the problem instead of the solution. You're feeding a victim mentality, and victims don't build wealth. Those who build wealth are those who take responsibility. Those who look at the situation and ask, what can I do to change this? That question is transformative, because it takes you out of a passive place and puts you in a place of action. And action generates results. So every time you catch yourself complaining, stop, breathe, and reframe your thinking. Instead of, I don't have money, say, I'm creating ways to increase my income. Instead of, I don't have time, say, I'm better organizing my time to do what matters. This change in language seems small, but it reprograms your mind. Because the mind believes what you repeat. If you repeat scarcity, it delivers scarcity. If you repeat abundance, it starts looking for paths to abundance. And there's more. Celebrate the small victories. Most people only want to celebrate when they reach the top of the mountain. But the journey is long. If you only celebrate at the end, you spend most of your time feeling frustrated. Learn to celebrate each step. Finish the week completing the 3 main tasks? Celebrate. Manage to wake up earlier every day? Celebrate. Said no to a distraction and use the time productively? Celebrate. These small celebrations keep you motivated, and sustained motivation transforms into discipline, and discipline builds wealth. Now let's talk about something many people avoid: investment. And I'm not just talking about financial investment, I'm talking about investing in yourself. How much time do you invest in learning new things? How much money do you invest in courses, books, mentorships? Many people think investing in knowledge is expensive, but they don't think it's expensive to waste years of their lives doing the same thing without growing. Think about it. A course might cost a few hundred reais, but it can teach you something that will multiply your income for years. A book might cost 50 reais, but it can give you an idea worth millions. Investing in yourself is the investment with the highest return there is. Because everything you learn, nobody can take away from you. It becomes part of who you are. And when you invest in knowledge, you're investing in your future. Because the more you know, the more value you deliver. And the more value you deliver, the more opportunities arise. It's simple math. But most people want shortcuts. They want to win without learning. They want to prosper without evolving. And that doesn't exist. Sustainable wealth comes from competence, and competence comes from applied knowledge. So stop waiting to get rich without investing in yourself first. Another crucial point, consistency beats intensity. It's better to do 30 minutes every day than 5 hours in a single day and then do nothing for a week. Because it's daily repetition that creates a habit, and habit is what sustains results. Many people start with great enthusiasm, do everything at once, and then get tired and give up. Don't be that person. Be the person who does a little but does it every day. Be the person who doesn't give up, who doesn't stop, who continues, even when it seems like it's not working. Because it is working. It's just that the result isn't visible yet. But it will be, if you keep going. And to finish with something extremely practical, do a time audit. For 1 week, write down everything you do throughout the day. Everything. How much time you spend on social media, how much time you spend watching TV, how much time you spend in unproductive conversations. At the end of the week, add it all up. You'll be shocked. Because most people waste much more time than they imagine, and when you see this clearly on paper, it becomes easier to change because then you're no longer on autopilot, you're conscious, and awareness is the first step to transformation. If you are truly committed to this change, write in the comments now. My time is precious and I choose to use it to grow. This is more than a phrase, it's a choice. And it's this choice that will begin to align your days with the results you want to see. It's not about being perfect, but about being consistent. And consistency is what separates those who live waiting for a miracle from those who create their own miracle with their own habits every day. You have everything you need to start now. Nothing is missing. What's missing is decision. The decision to use the time you already have more wisely. The decision to stop wasting energy on what doesn't matter. The decision to build every day the mindset that sustains the wealth you want to see in your life. And this decision isn't made just once. It's made every day, every moment, with every choice. So choose well, because your life is the sum of your choices. And you deserve a rich, abundant, and prosperous life. Now that you're starting to manage your time better and understanding that every choice directly influences your financial results, it's time to look more closely at what sustains it all, your belief system. If there's one thing that defines how much money someone can attract, keep, and multiply, it's what that person believes about money. It may seem like an exaggeration, but the truth is simple. You will never be able to keep what your mind rejects. And if you, on some level, believe that money is something bad, that being rich is selfish, that having a lot is dangerous, that those who have a lot always lose it later, or that life can only improve with a lot of effort, then you are sabotaging your own wealth without realizing it. Beliefs function like roots. They are hidden underground, you don't see them, but they support everything that grows upwards. If the root is rotten, the fruit will never be healthy. And many people live trying to improve their lives, but without touching these roots. They continue with old beliefs, inherited from childhood, culture, religion, family. Beliefs that say, money isn't for people like you. You have to work very hard to achieve something. Those who get too rich always end up badly. And the worst part is that these beliefs aren't always conscious. They act in the depths of the mind, influencing decisions, sabotaging opportunities, and keeping the person trapped in the same cycle. That's why you urgently need to start investigating what you truly believe about money. Ask yourself now, what do I think when I hear the word wealth? How do I feel when I see someone financially successful? What was the environment I grew up in, and what was I taught about money? You'll realize that often what you were taught was based more on fear than on truth. And as long as you don't question these ideas, you'll continue living within them. The mind works through repetition and reinforcement. Everything you've heard, repeated, and accepted as truth has become a belief. And now to change, you need to do the reverse. Identify, question, replace. One of the most common beliefs that sabotage wealth is the idea that you have to suffer to achieve it, that only with great sacrifice is it possible to achieve any result. Of course, effort and dedication are important, but suffering is not a requirement. Wealth doesn't have to come with pain. It can come with ease when you start acting intelligently, aligned with what you believe and with consistent habits. The idea that everything needs to be difficult was created by people who never understood how the mind influences reality. Logically, there will be effort, there will be challenges. But that's different from suffering. When you enjoy what you do, when you believe you deserve more, when you know you are growing, effort transforms into purpose, and purpose is light. Another limiting belief is the fear of losing what has been achieved. Many people manage to earn money, but they can't keep it. Something always happens. An unexpected problem, a debt that arises out of nowhere, a situation that forces the person to spend everything. This happens because deep down, they don't feel secure having money. They believe they are not stable, that something bad will happen if they have too much. So even unintentionally, they create situations that make them return to square one. This is self-sabotage, and the only way to break this cycle is by replacing fear with confidence. Confidence is built with clear thinking, constant affirmation, and conscious decisions. You need to repeat to yourself every day, I am capable of earning, keeping, and multiplying the money that comes to me. And there's more. Many people associate wealth with selfishness. They think that for someone to win, someone else has to lose, that for someone to rise in life, someone else has to fall. This thinking is scarce, limited, and doesn't reflect the reality of abundance. Wealth is not a zero-sum game. Just because someone is prospering doesn't mean another is being left behind. On the contrary, the more people prosper, the more opportunities are created, the more ideas are set in motion, the more lives are transformed. When you become wealthy consciously, you inspire others to do the same. You show that it's possible. You share, generate impact, contribute. So stop associating wealth with greed. Wealth is freedom. It's choice. It's the ability to do good on a larger scale. Right now, I want you to do a mental cleansing exercise. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and mentally repeat, I release all limiting beliefs. I choose thoughts that strengthen my ability to grow. I accept wealth as a natural part of my life. Do this right now, repeat firmly. This type of exercise begins to clear old programming and make room for new ideas. And the more you repeat it, the more the new belief begins to take root. It's no use doing it once and expecting results. It's like weight training. Only those who train consistently grow, and training the mind is the same. Repetition, consistency, clarity. That's what transforms. Let's delve even deeper into this process of belief transformation. Because I need you to understand that your beliefs aren't just loose thoughts that pass through your head. They are deep structures that shape your perception of reality. They are lenses through which you see the world. And if these lenses are dirty, foggy, distorted, you will see opportunities as threats, abundance as danger, growth as risk. That's why it's so important to clean these lenses. And the cleaning begins with awareness. You first need to realize that you're using the wrong lenses before you can change them. Think about it. How many times have you let an opportunity pass you by because you thought it wasn't for you? How many times have you sabotaged yourself without even realizing it? How many times have you given up before even trying because you were already sure it wouldn't work? All of this comes from your beliefs. If you believe that opportunities aren't for people like you, your mind will find 1,000 reasons to confirm this. It will highlight all the obstacles, all the difficulties, all the risks, and it will completely ignore the possibilities, the paths, the solutions, because the mind seeks coherence. It wants to prove you right, even if being right means remaining in scarcity. And you know what's even sadder? Often these limiting beliefs didn't even come from bad experiences you had. They came from stories you were told, from phrases you heard as a child, from situations you observed without even being directly involved. You saw your parents fighting over money and created the belief that money brings conflict. You heard someone speak ill of a rich person and created the belief that rich people are dishonest. You saw someone lose everything and created the belief that prosperity doesn't last. All of this was absorbed, layer by layer, until it formed the basis of your current belief system. But here's the good news. Just as these beliefs were installed, they can be uninstalled. You are not condemned to live forever with the same limitations. You have the power to consciously choose what you want to believe, and this choice is not a one-time event. It's a daily process. It's waking up every day and deciding to nurture the beliefs that expand you, not the ones that limit you. It's taking each negative thought and questioning it until it loses its power. It's replacing each old pattern with a new one, with patience and persistence. Let me give you a very practical example. Let's say you grew up hearing that money doesn't grow on trees, that life is hard, that you have to work hard to earn little. These phrases were repeated so many times that they became absolute truths in your mind. But are they really truths? Or are they just beliefs that your parents had because they learned them from their parents? When you stop to think, you realize that there are people who earn a lot by working intelligently, not through sacrifice. There are people who find creative ways to generate income. There are people who prosper doing what they love. So those phrases are not universal truths. They are just beliefs, and beliefs can be changed. The process of change begins when you become an observer of your own thoughts. Every time a limiting thought appears, instead of simply accepting it, you question it. Where did this come from? Is it really true? Or is it just fear? Is it based on facts or assumptions? This investigation is powerful because it puts you in control. You stop being a hostage to your thoughts and become their curator. You consciously choose what deserves to stay and what needs to go. And here's something many people don't realize. Your beliefs affect not only what you think, but what you do. They determine the actions you take and the ones you avoid. If you believe you're not good enough, you won't apply for that better job. If you believe investing is too risky, you won't seek knowledge about investing. If you believe rich people are bad, you'll sabotage any attempt to get rich because you don't want to become a bad person. Your beliefs create an invisible field that limits your movements, and you only realize this when you start to observe. That's why it's crucial to create a routine of self-observation. Set aside a few minutes each day to mentally review your decisions. Ask yourself, why did I choose this and not that? What was behind that choice? Was it an expansive or limiting belief? When you do this frequently, you begin to identify patterns. And when you identify patterns, you can change them. Because then you clearly see what's holding you back. It's not the world out there, it's the beliefs inside. Now let's talk about a very dangerous belief that's everywhere. The idea that you need to wait for the right moment to start. How many people do you know who constantly say, when I have more money, I'll invest. When I have more time, I'll study. When things get better, I'll start. These people are trapped in the belief that they need perfect conditions to act. But the truth is, perfect conditions never arrive. The right moment is now, with what you have, just as you are. Because it's by acting that you create the conditions you need, not by waiting. This belief that you need to wait comes from fear. Fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of losing what little you have. And this fear disguises itself as prudence. You think you're being sensible by waiting, but in reality, you're sabotaging yourself. Because while you wait, time passes. And time is the only resource you can't recover. So, every time you postpone an important decision out of fear, you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to grow. And over the years, these small choices to postpone accumulate and turn into regret. There's another belief that needs to be questioned, the idea that you have to do everything alone. Many people believe that asking for help is a sign of weakness, that accepting guidance is admitting inability. But this couldn't be further from the truth. People who thrive know that no one gets there alone. They seek mentors, learn from those who have already walked the path, and surround themselves with people who challenge them to grow. This belief that you have to do everything alone only serves to keep you isolated, fighting against problems that someone else has already solved. It's a pure waste of energy. And when you let go of that belief and start seeking knowledge, exchanging experiences, learning from the mistakes and successes of others, you completely accelerate your growth process because you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can learn principles that have already been tested, apply strategies that have already worked, avoid traps that have already caught other people. This is not copying, it's being intelligent. It's using available resources in the most efficient way possible. I'm going to tell you something that might disturb you. Many of your beliefs about money were created to keep you in line, to keep you small, to make you accept less than you deserve. We live in a society that, in a way, glorifies struggle and distrusts success. That applauds those who complain about a hard life, but criticizes those who prosper quickly. That teaches from an early age that ambition is greed, that wanting more is being ungrateful, that standing out is being arrogant. And all this serves to keep people in their place, because people who believe they can't have more won't fight for more. They'll accept whatever comes their way. You'll conform. But you don't have to conform. You can question all of this. You can decide that you will no longer accept these limiting narratives. You can choose to believe that ambition is healthy when it comes from a place of purpose. That wanting more is not being ungrateful, it's recognizing your potential. That standing out is not arrogance, it's the result of effort and dedication. When you change these internal beliefs, you change your external trajectory, because then you stop sabotaging yourself, you stop diminishing yourself, and you begin to occupy the space that has always been yours. And there's a crucial point here: beliefs about worthiness. This is perhaps the most sensitive area of all, because deep down, many people don't believe they deserve a better life. They think they're not smart enough, not hardworking enough, not good enough. And this belief of unworthiness is the most destructive of all, because if you don't feel deserving, you'll sabotage any achievement. You'll find a way to lose what you've gained. You'll put yourself in situations that confirm your low self-esteem. It's a vicious cycle that only breaks when you work on self-love, self-forgiveness, and self-acceptance. Merit has nothing to do with perfection. You don't need to be perfect to deserve prosperity. You don't need to have gotten everything right in life. You don't need to have never made mistakes. You deserve it simply because you are a human being with potential, with the capacity to learn, to grow, to contribute. You deserve it because you are willing to do things differently, because you are here, now, investing time in transforming your mindset. This already shows that you are committed to your evolution. And those who are committed deserve to reap the rewards of that commitment. So if there's one belief you need to strengthen above all others, it's this: I deserve prosperity. I am worthy of wealth. I have the right to live well, to have abundance, to enjoy the good fruits of my labor. Repeat this every day. Write it on a piece of paper and stick it on your mirror. Record an audio on your phone and listen to it whenever you can. Because this belief needs to be so strong, so ingrained, that no negative thought can shake it. And here's a truth that few people talk about. You attract into your life what you believe you deserve. If you feel you deserve little, you will attract little. If you feel you deserve much, you will start attracting much. It's not magic, it's frequency, it's vibration, it's how you position yourself in the world. When you believe you deserve it, you act differently, you speak differently, you choose differently, and these choices create different results. Let's talk now about the belief that money corrupts. This is one of the deepest and most destructive beliefs. Many people have been taught that the more money you have, the further you are from God, from essence, from goodness. That the rich live superficially, that money brings vanity, that material abundance distances you from what really matters. But this is a complete distortion of reality. Money doesn't corrupt. Money amplifies. If you are a good, generous, and conscious person, having money will allow you to be even more generous, even more conscious, with even greater reach. Think about the people you admire who make a difference in the world. Many of them have financial resources, and they use those resources to create impact, to help communities, to fund important projects, to generate jobs. Wealth in the hands of conscious people is a blessing. The problem has never been money. The problem is the character of those who possess it. So instead of being afraid of prospering, thinking it will corrupt you, work on being an upright person. cultivate solid values, develop character, and then, when the money comes, you will use it for good. Another belief that completely sabotages prosperity is the idea that you have to choose between being happy and being rich, as if they were opposites, as if having money automatically makes you unhappy. But that makes no sense at all. Happiness comes from within. It comes from purpose, from healthy relationships, from inner peace, from alignment with your values. And money can facilitate many of these things. It can give you time to be with those you love. It can give you the freedom to do what fulfills you. It can take away worries that drain your energy. So you don't have to choose. You can have both. You can be happy and rich. You can have inner peace and external abundance. And there's a belief that's almost invisible, but extremely limiting, that there's a ceiling to how much you can earn. Many people look at their own reality, at the profession they've chosen, at where they live, and decide that they can only earn up to a certain point. They create a mental limit. And then, even when opportunities to earn more arise, this person doesn't see them, or they see them and sabotage them. Because exceeding that mental ceiling generates discomfort. It generates fear. So they prefer to stay in their comfort zone, even if that zone is one of scarcity. But the truth is, there is no ceiling. There is no external limit to how much you can prosper. The only limits are those you place in your own mind. And when you expand those limits, when you begin to believe that you can do more, that you deserve more, that you are capable of more, your reality expands along with it, because your beliefs determine your actions, and your actions determine your results. So if you want greater results, you need greater beliefs. You need to believe that the impossible is only what you haven't yet tried. Now, here's a powerful exercise you can do. Write down on a piece of paper all the negative beliefs you have about money, everything. Don't filter them, let them out. Then for each negative belief, write the opposite belief next to it. For example, if you wrote, "Money is hard to earn," write next to it, "Money can flow easily when I align myself with it." If you wrote, "Rich people are selfish," write, "There are rich and generous people and I can be one of them." Do this with all of them, and then, every day, read the positive beliefs aloud. Ignore the negative ones, only focus on the new ones. Repeat, 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 until these new beliefs become stronger than the old ones. And understand one thing, this process isn't quick. It's not magic. You won't wake up tomorrow with all your beliefs transformed. But if you commit to this work, if you dedicate a few minutes every day to strengthening expansive beliefs, in a few months you'll look back and realize you're thinking completely differently, that you're making completely different decisions, that you're attracting completely different opportunities because you've changed from the inside out. And change from the inside out is the only kind that truly lasts. Now write in the comments, "My beliefs are aligning with the wealth I deserve." When you write, you affirm. And when you affirm frequently, you transform your mind. Transformation doesn't happen in a shout, but in the silence of daily repetition. Keep clearing old beliefs. Keep strengthening new ideas. Keep believing that it's possible to live with more freedom, more lightness, more financial intelligence. Because it is possible. And you're on the right track. Just don't give up. Keep going. Every day. Without exception. Because your future life depends on the beliefs you are cultivating today. Up to this point, you've understood that wealth isn't born in your pocket, it's born in your mind. It comes from how you think, speak, act, feel, and behave every day. Now it's time to reinforce a principle that separates those who merely desire a better life from those who truly build that life. The practice of consistency. Consistency is the secret that transforms small actions into great results. It's what makes thought become belief, belief become action, and action become a new reality. Without consistency, even the best ideas die. Even the best mindset weakens. Without consistency, your mind reverts to the old pattern, that of scarcity, fear, and doubt. And that's why this part of the book is one of the most important. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about repetition. It's about deciding that you'll stay the course, even on days when it seems like nothing is changing. And that's a common trap. People give up too soon. They start making affirmations for a week, then say it didn't work. They start visualizing a rich life for a few days, but when the current reality doesn't change quickly, they give up. The mind at that point is still in transition, and if you don't firmly hold on to that transition, it reverts to the old model. It's like trying to push a car that's been sitting for years. At first it seems too heavy, but if you persevere, it starts to move. And when it picks up speed, everything flows much more easily. And here's what most people don't understand. Real change happens in layers. The first layer is superficial. It's when you start repeating new words, new affirmations, new thoughts. You don't fully believe them yet, but you're planting the seeds. The second layer is deeper. It's when you start noticing small changes in your behavior. You react differently to a provocation. You make more conscious financial decisions. You choose constructive content instead of wasting time on something that drains you. These small changes are signs that reprogramming is happening, even if you don't yet see concrete results in your bank account. The third layer is the deepest of all, and it's where true transformation happens. It's when the new mindset becomes your identity. You no longer need to strive to think in abundance. You simply think that way naturally. You no longer need to remind yourself to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You no longer need to force yourself to act with focus. You act with focus because it's now part of who you are. But to reach this third layer, you need to consistently traverse the first two. And most people give up at the first or second layer because they don't see immediate results. They want to jump straight to the third layer without doing the necessary work on the previous ones. And that simply doesn't work. Imagine someone who decides to learn a new language. In the first few months, everything seems extremely difficult. The words don't make sense. The grammar seems impossible. You can't form simple sentences without getting stuck. If this person gives up at this stage, they will never speak the language. But if they continue practicing every day, even when it seems like they're not progressing, something magical begins to happen. Suddenly, after months of practice, they realize they understand entire conversations. They are dreaming in the new language. They are thinking in that language effortlessly. What changed? Their brain created new neural connections through constant repetition. The same happens with a wealth mindset. Your brain needs to create new connections, new neural pathways that support this new way of thinking, and this only happens with constant repetition over time. This is where many give up halfway through, because they are addicted to immediate results. But mindset isn't built like magic. It's built with discipline, with the practice of returning to the basics every day. And what is that basic foundation? Affirmations, visualization, gratitude, self-control, clarity of thought, reading, organization, conscious choice of what enters your mind. These pillars need to be cultivated every day, like caring for a plant. If you forget to water it for a week, it starts to dry out. The same happens with the mind. It needs daily nourishment. And that nourishment is the thoughts you choose to maintain and repeat. Let's talk about something few people mention: the valley of disillusionment. There's a point in every transformation process where you've done a lot of work, you've put in a lot of effort, but the external results haven't yet appeared. That's the valley of disillusionment. It's the most dangerous moment in the journey because it's when most people give up. You're halfway between who you were and who you're becoming. You're no longer comfortable in your old self, but you haven't yet reached your new self. And in that space, there's immense pressure to go back, to return to the familiar, to say this doesn't work and abandon everything. But here's the truth you need to engrave deep within your soul. The valley of disillusionment is precisely where transformation is happening most intensely. It's like the caterpillar inside the cocoon transforming into a butterfly. If you open the cocoon mid-process to check if it's working, you kill the butterfly. The process needs to happen in the dark, in silence, in invisibility. And when it's complete, you will emerge transformed. But you need to trust the process. You need to keep doing the work, even when you don't see external evidence of change. And do you know what separates those who cross the valley of disillusionment from those who give up in it? The quality of their consistency. It's not a consistency that depends on external motivation. It's a consistency that comes from a deep internal decision. It's when you decide that no matter how long it takes, you will continue. You will make your affirmations every day for the next 5 years if necessary. You will maintain your mental discipline even if it takes a decade to see the results you want. When you make this decision absolutely, something powerful happens. You relax. You stop being anxious checking if you've changed yet. You stop being frustrated because you haven't arrived yet. You simply trust the process and continue doing the work. And ironically, it's precisely when you stop being anxious about the results that they start to appear. Why? Because anxiety is an energy of scarcity. When you are anxious, you are transmitting to the universe, "I don't trust that this will work. I'm afraid I won't succeed." And this energy attracts more reasons to be afraid, more reasons to doubt. But when you are calm, confident, doing the work without desperation, you are transmitting, "I know this will work. It's just a matter of time." And this energy attracts opportunities, people, situations that help you get there faster. Let's be very direct here. If you truly want to build wealth, you need to make a commitment to yourself. A commitment not to abandon this process just because it's taking a long time, just because you don't yet see visible results. The greatest results begin invisibly. They begin in the depths of the mind, in the silence of repetition, in the discipline of maintaining focus, even when no one is watching. It is in this place that transformation begins to happen. And when you least expect it, the new mindset becomes your default. You begin to act differently effortlessly. You begin to react differently without needing to think. You begin to make better decisions naturally. Why? Because your mind has already been reprogrammed. Think of all the great achievements of humanity. None of them happened quickly. None of them were the result of sporadic effort. Thomas Edison made thousands of attempts before inventing the electric light bulb. He could have given up on the 100th attempt or the 500th. But he continued. Why? Because he had a commitment to the result that went beyond momentary desire. He had a deep decision that he would discover the solution, no matter how many times he failed along the way. And it is this level of commitment that you need to have to your own mental and financial transformation. I'm not saying you need to suffer in the process. I'm not saying you need to sacrifice beyond your limits. I'm saying you need to be firm in your decision, firm in your practice, firm in your direction, even when the people around you don't believe in you, even when your own mind tries to convince you that you're wasting your time, even when external reality doesn't yet reflect the internal reality you're building. You keep going because you know deep down that this is the way. Consistency also requires you to stop demanding so much of yourself for not being perfect. There will be days when you won't be able to do everything. There will be days when you will fail. That doesn't derail you as long as you come back the next day. The mistake isn't in failing. The mistake is in stopping. You can fail 1 day, 2 days, but never stop completely. Never say, "This doesn't work," just because your life hasn't turned upside down in a week. Mental reprogramming is a process. And if you respect that process, the results will come. Real, solid, lasting results. Because they will be results sustained by a strong root, your new way of thinking. Understand that perfection is an illusion that paralyzes more people than it empowers. How many people do you know who don't start something because they want to wait for the perfect moment? They want to wait until they have more money, more time, more knowledge, more confidence. And while they wait for perfection, life passes them by. The years go by, and they remain in the same place with the same excuses, with the same fears. The truth is, you will never feel completely ready. You will never have all the perfect conditions, and that's okay. Because growth doesn't happen in perfection, it happens in imperfect and constant action. It's better to make your affirmations imperfectly every day than to wait for the perfect moment that never comes. It's better to visualize your prosperous life for 5 tired minutes at night than to visualize nothing because you think you need 30 minutes in ideal conditions. It's better to read 3 pages of a self-help book every day than to read nothing because you think you need an hour of free time. Imperfect progress is infinitely better than stagnant perfection. And when you accept this, When you allow yourself to be human, flawed, imperfect, but constant, you release immense pressure from your shoulders, and in that space of lightness, you can accomplish so much more. Another crucial aspect of consistency is the ability to start over. Let's say you maintained your daily practice of affirmations and visualizations for 30 days straight. It was amazing. You felt changes. And then something happened in your life. A crisis, an illness, a family problem, and you stopped. You spent a week, 2 weeks doing nothing. Most people at this point enter a cycle of guilt and giving up. I messed everything up. I really lack discipline. I always start and never finish. And with these thoughts, they completely abandon the practice. Don't be that person. If you stopped, simply start again. No drama, no guilt, no self-flagellation. Just start again. The next day, make your affirmations again. Visualize again. Give thanks again. Treat each day as a new opportunity, not as a continuation of a perfect sequence. Because what matters is not never failing. What matters is always coming back. And every time you come back, you are strengthening not only your wealth mindset, but also your resilience, your ability to continue despite obstacles. And this ability is one of the greatest assets you can develop, both in life and in finance. Let's do a simple exercise now. Close your eyes for a few seconds. Take a deep breath and say mentally, firmly, I am consistent. I am disciplined. I stay focused on my wealth, even when the results haven't arrived yet. Repeat this a few times. Feel the power of this affirmation entering your system. This isn't just a pretty phrase, this is identity building. The identity you assume defines what you will sustain. If you see yourself as someone who gives up easily, you will continue repeating that pattern. But if you start to see yourself as someone who is consistent, who is firm, who is committed to your own evolution, everything begins to change. You become the root of your success. And identity is everything. Your actions flow from your identity. If you identify as someone trying to get rich, you'll have behaviors of trial and error, of effort without conviction. But if you identify as someone building wealth in a solid and consistent way, your behaviors change completely. You act with more authority. You decide with more clarity. You invest with more strategy. Because you're no longer trying, you're being. And being is infinitely more powerful than trying. Think about the people you admire, those who have truly achieved lasting success in their fields. They don't see themselves as people who are trying to be successful. They see themselves as successful people who are still expanding their success. They don't see themselves as people who want to be rich. They see themselves as prosperous people who are managing and multiplying their prosperity. Do you see the difference? It's not semantics, it's a profound shift in identity that changes everything about how they operate in the world. And you can make that identity change right now. You don't need to wait to have money in the bank to start seeing yourself as someone prosperous. In fact, you need to start seeing yourself as someone prosperous for the money to start appearing in the bank. Identity comes first, results come later, always in that order, never the other way around. And the more you reinforce this new identity through constant affirmations, constant visualizations, and constant actions aligned with that identity, the faster it solidifies in your mind and your reality. Now write in the comments, my consistency is stronger than my obstacles. Write this and read it aloud. Every time you write an affirmation, you reinforce your commitment. Every time you repeat it with conviction, you weaken old patterns. Don't underestimate the power of repetition. It changes everything. Ordinary people with consistency surpass talented people who lack discipline. And that's a great truth of life. Those who persevere, achieve. Those who stop halfway, live in the almost. And you weren't born to live in the almost. You were born to live the complete life. The full life, the life where what you think aligns with what you achieve. And here's something you need to understand deeply. Talent without consistency is wasted potential. You can have all the skills in the world, all the intelligence, all the creativity. But if you lack consistency, you'll be surpassed by someone with less talent but infinitely more discipline. Because in the end, it's not the one with the most potential who wins, it's the one who uses their potential most consistently. It's the one who shows up every day. It's the one who does the work, even when they're not inspired. It's the one who keeps going even when nobody's applauding. Think about high-performance athletes. They don't just train when they're motivated. They train every day in all weather conditions, with or without an audience, injured or healthy, because they understand that greatness is built on consistency, not sporadic inspiration. And you need to bring that athlete mindset into your financial and mental life. You don't just practice affirmations when you're feeling positive. You especially practice them when you're feeling negative, because it's in those moments that you most need to redirect your mind. You don't visualize your prosperous life only when you're excited about some opportunity. You visualize it especially when everything seems to be going wrong, because it's in those moments that you need to keep your mind focused on your destination, not on your current circumstances. You don't only give thanks when you receive something good. You give thanks especially on difficult days, because gratitude in challenging times is what transforms difficulty into learning and obstacles into opportunities. So, from now on, treat your mindset practice as a workout, not as something emotional that depends on willpower. You won't wait to feel like it to make affirmations. You'll do it because that's what transforms. You won't wait to have free time to visualize your rich life. You'll do it because that's what opens doors. You won't let your mind wander, consuming everything that comes along. You'll intentionally choose what you watch, what you read, and who you talk to, because those who choose intentionally create with more clarity, and those who create with clarity attract more quickly. And create consistency milestones for yourself. Instead of thinking, I'm going to do this forever and feeling overwhelmed, think in smaller milestones. I'm going to do my affirmations every day for the next 30 days. When you complete 30 days, celebrate that victory. Acknowledge that you've proven to yourself that you're capable of consistency, and then set the next milestone, another 30 days, or 60, or 90. These milestones create a sense of progress and accomplishment that fuels your motivation to continue. And here's something powerful. Share your commitment with someone you trust. When you verbalize your commitment to another person, you create an additional layer of accountability. It's not about external pressure. It's about making your commitment more real. It's about moving from the purely mental realm to the physical world through the spoken word. And when you tell someone, I am committed to doing my mental practices every day for the next 90 days, you are making a pact, not only with that person, but primarily with yourself. The consistency you develop in this mental practice will overflow into all other areas of your life. You will become more consistent in your work, more consistent in your relationships, more consistent in your healthcare, more consistent in everything. Because consistency is a muscle you develop. And the more you exercise this muscle in one area, the stronger it becomes in all areas. You are building a version of yourself that is reliable, that keeps its promises, that doesn't give up when things get tough. And this version of you is unbeatable. This version of you attracts extraordinary opportunities because people in the universe trust those who are consistent. So make that your trademark. Be known as someone who doesn't give up, as someone who keeps their word, as someone who, when they decide on something, sees it through to the end. That reputation, first with yourself, then with others, is worth more than any amount of money. Because it's that reputation that opens doors, that creates connections, that transforms small opportunities into big achievements. And it all starts with the decision to be consistent. Not tomorrow, not when things get better, but now, today, at this very moment. When consistency becomes part of your routine, a new stage in the mental transformation process naturally emerges, the strengthening of your identity. And this is crucial, because ultimately, no one can maintain a level of wealth if they still see themselves as limited, small, weak, or worthless. How you see yourself internally defines what you will accept to live externally. It may seem simple, but this is one of the most ignored fundamentals by those who want to prosper. You can repeat affirmations, organize your habits, manage your time, but if you continue to see yourself as someone who wasn't born for this, all of that will be sabotaged at some point. The mind always pulls you towards the identity it believes to be true. Your identity isn't something fixed, contrary to what many people think. You weren't born with a label that tells you who you are and how far you can go. Your identity is built on the stories you've heard, the experiences you've lived, the words you've repeated about yourself over the years, and that's why it can and should be shaped. If you want to live with more money, more peace, more freedom, more security, you need to build a new image of yourself, an image of someone who can have, who can maintain, who can grow, who can multiply. And this doesn't happen out of nowhere. It happens when you decide to stop telling yourself the old stories, those stories of failure, defeat, limitation, and suffering. What you say about yourself, even if only in thought, shapes your behavior. If you constantly say you're unlucky, that everything is difficult, that nothing ever works out, you're reinforcing that identity, and your behavior follows suit. You'll act like someone who believes it. You'll refuse opportunities without realizing it. You'll sabotage yourself, you'll accept less than you deserve because you believe that's your place. But when you start affirming new ideas about who you are, when you start describing yourself as someone strong, capable, intelligent, strategic, and prosperous, you begin to adopt a new posture. And that posture changes your attitudes, and attitudes change your results. So stop now and think, what image do you have of yourself? When no one is watching, when you are alone in silence, what do you think about who you are? This answer is more important than anything else, because you will never attract something that goes against your self-image. The mind rejects everything that doesn't match the identity it has accepted as truth. That's why some people, even when they receive money, quickly find a way to lose it. It's not because they're bad with numbers, it's because their identity says, this isn't for me. And everything goes back to square one. You need to build a new narrative, a new story about yourself. And this story needs to be told every day, aloud if possible, with words that empower you. Say things like, I am a person who creates value. I am deserving of everything I desire. I am someone who thinks clearly. I am intelligent in handling money. I am in control of my financial life. I consciously create my reality. These phrases need to become part of your internal vocabulary, because it is this vocabulary that will guide your actions. The mind works with repetition. Everything you repeat, it records as truth. So choose carefully what you are repeating about yourself. Here's a powerful exercise. Write a description of your new identity. Imagine someone asks, who are you? Instead of answering with what you do or what you have, answer with who you are becoming. Write things like, I am someone who thinks big. I am a disciplined person. I am someone who attracts wealth. I am someone who knows what they want and goes after it. Write this description and read it every day, because the more you read it, the more you believe it, and the more you believe it, the more you behave accordingly. And then the external results begin to follow this internal change. Remember that the world doesn't just respond to your actions, it responds primarily to your energy. And your energy comes from how you see yourself. Someone who sees themselves as small emits energy of fear, doubt, and insecurity. And this energy repels opportunities. Someone who sees themselves as valuable emits confidence, clarity, and firmness. And this energy attracts respect, partnerships, ideas, and solutions. So, if you want to attract more money, start by emitting the frequency of wealth. And this frequency begins within, in how you define yourself every day. Let's delve deeper into this concept of identity because it is literally the foundation of everything. You can have the best strategies, the best contacts, the best opportunities, but if your internal identity isn't aligned with the level of wealth you want to achieve, none of that will hold up. It's like building a giant house on a weak foundation. It might stand for a while, but at the first storm it will collapse. Your identity is that foundation, and if it's cracked, full of limiting beliefs, full of stories of failure, everything you build on top of it will be unstable. Now think about how you present yourself to the world. I'm not talking about clothes or physical appearance. I'm talking about the energy you carry. When you enter a room, what do people feel? Do they feel confidence or insecurity, determination or doubt, clarity or confusion? Because all of that comes from your self-image. If you see yourself as someone who doesn't deserve to be there, it shows. You speak softly, avoid eye contact, diminish yourself, and accept being treated with less respect. But when you see yourself as someone valuable, as someone who has something important to offer, you occupy space naturally. You speak firmly, you look people in the eye, you assert yourself. And this has nothing to do with arrogance. It has to do with recognizing your own worth. Arrogance is when you try to put yourself above others to compensate for an inner insecurity. True confidence is when you recognize your worth without needing to diminish anyone. It's when you know who you are, you know what you can do, and you don't need to prove anything to anyone. This attitude comes from a well-constructed identity, and a well-constructed identity is built with inner work, with daily affirmations, with conscious decisions about who you want to be. There's a powerful concept that needs to be clear. You don't become rich and then change your identity. It's the opposite. You change your identity and then attract wealth. Because wealth is a consequence, not a cause. It's the result of thinking like someone rich, acting like someone rich, making decisions like someone rich. And all of this starts internally. It starts when you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and begin to see yourself as the creator of your reality. This change in perspective is revolutionary, because then you stop waiting for something external to change so you can change. You change first, and the external world follows. Let me give you a very practical example. Imagine two people who win the lottery the same amount. One of them has always had a scarcity mindset, always saw themselves as poor, always believed they didn't deserve much. The other, even without having much money before, has always had an abundance mindset, always saw themselves as capable, always believed they could do more. Which of the two do you think will keep the money? Studies show that most lottery winners lose everything within a few years. Why? Because they received money without having their identity aligned. Their minds were still one of scarcity, so they spent it all, made bad decisions, got involved with the wrong people and returned to square one, because their identity pulled them back. Now, a person with an abundance identity, even if they lose everything, can rebuild. Because they know who they are. They trust in their own abilities. They are not defined by what they have, but by who they are. And that difference is everything. That's why you see people who went bankrupt 3 or 4 times and then prospered again. They had a strong identity. They had clarity about who they were. And that clarity sustained them even in difficult times. So what you need to do now is look inward and identify which identity is dominating your life. Do you see yourself as someone who struggles and suffers, or as someone who grows and thrives? Do you see yourself as a victim or as a protagonist? Do you see yourself as small or as powerful? These answers will show you exactly what needs to be worked on. And working on your identity isn't complicated. It's about repeating every day who you want to be until it becomes your truth. A very powerful technique is what I call identity rehearsal. It works like this. Every day before leaving home, you spend a few minutes imagining what your day would be like if you were already the person you want to become. How would you act? How would you speak? How would you make decisions? How would you react to challenges? You rehearse mentally, and then during the day you try to act according to that rehearsal. At first it will seem strange, as if you were pretending, but over time it becomes natural. Because you've practiced so much that it's become part of who you are. Think of actors preparing for a role. They study the character, repeat the lines, rehearse the gestures until it becomes natural. You can do the same with your life. You can rehearse the identity you want to have until it becomes real. And no, this isn't fake, it's intentional. It's you consciously choosing who you want to be instead of letting the past define who you are. And there's another important point. The identity you have today was built through repetition. You heard 1,000 times that you were this way or that way. You repeated it to yourself 1,000 times, and that became truth in your mind. Now to change, you need to do the same process but with new information. You need to repeat the new identity 1,000 times. You need to hear 1,000 times that you are capable, that you deserve it, that you can do it. And this needs to come from you. Because nobody will do it for you. You are responsible for building your new narrative. Some people wait for external validation to change their self-image. They wait for someone to tell them they are good, capable, and valuable. But that's giving power outwards. You don't need external validation, you need internal validation. You need to look in the mirror and recognize your own worth. You need to give yourself the respect you expect from others. You need to treat yourself with the dignity you deserve. And when you do that, when you validate yourself internally, external validation comes as a consequence, because people sense when you respect yourself, and they treat you accordingly. Now, let's talk about identity saboteurs. There are some things that completely destroy the construction of a strong identity, and one of the main ones is constant comparison. When you live comparing yourself to others, you never feel good enough. There's always someone better, always someone further ahead. And that corrodes your self-esteem. It makes you feel small. It makes you doubt yourself. So stop comparing yourself. The only valid comparison is you with yourself. Are you better than you were yesterday? Are you growing? Are you evolving? That's what matters. Another saboteur is a negative environment. If you associate with people who belittle you, who doubt you, who mock your dreams, your identity will be constantly attacked. It's very difficult to maintain a strong self-image when every day someone is telling you that you can't, that you won't succeed, that you're dreaming too much. That's why it's so important to choose carefully who you associate with. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, who support you, who challenge you to grow, and distance yourself from those who drag you down. And there's a third saboteur that's more subtle but equally destructive: excuses. Every time you justify a failure, every time you blame circumstances, every time you say it didn't work you're weakening your identity, because you're putting yourself in the role of victim, and victims have no power. Victims only react. So stop justifying yourself, take responsibility. When something doesn't work out, instead of blaming something or someone, ask yourself, what could I have done differently? What did I learn from this? How can I improve? This attitude strengthens your identity. It puts you in the role of protagonist. I'm going to tell you something that can completely transform your journey. Your identity is not determined by your past. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you've made. It doesn't matter how many times you've failed. It doesn't matter where you came from. None of that defines who you are today or who you can become. Your past is just information, it's experience, but it's not a sentence. You can choose right now to be someone different. You can choose a new identity and start living from that identity. This freedom is frightening for many people because it's easier to cling to the old identity, even if it's limiting. At least it's familiar. At least it's known. Changing your identity requires courage. It requires letting go of what you've always been to become what you can be. And that generates discomfort. It generates fear. But it is in this discomfort that growth happens. It is in this fear that transformation resides. So don't run from it. Embrace it. Use it as fuel. And when you start living from your new identity, some people around you will find it strange. They will question it. They might even try to pull you back to who you were before, because your change bothers them. It reminds you that they could change too, but they aren't. So instead of questioning themselves, they question you. Don't let that affect you. Don't revert to your old identity just to please others. Your growth doesn't depend on anyone's approval. It only depends on your decision to keep evolving. And there's something beautiful about this process. The more you strengthen your identity, the more you inspire other people, because they see that it's possible. They see someone who decided to change and did change, and that plants a seed in them. So you're not just doing this for yourself, you're doing it for everyone who will be inspired by your journey. You're breaking a cycle, you're showing a path, and that has immense value. Now here's a practical exercise you can start today. Every day, choose an area of your life and act as if you already were the person you want to be. For example, if you want to be financially organized, organize your finances today. If you want to be healthy, make healthy choices today. If you want to be confident, make a confident decision today. Each small action aligned with your new identity strengthens it. And little by little, what was once effort becomes natural. It becomes who you are. And remember, identity isn't built with grand gestures. It's built with small daily decisions, with how you talk about yourself, with how you treat yourself, with how you react to challenges. Every moment is an opportunity to reinforce who you want to be. Don't waste these moments. Use them consciously. because your life is the sum of all these small moments. And if you use each one to strengthen the right identity, in a short time you'll look back and no longer recognize who you were, because you've transformed. And real transformation always begins from the inside out. Now write in the comments, "I am building a new, rich and powerful identity." By writing this, you reinforce that commitment. Identity building is an ongoing process. You will have good days and difficult days, but what matters is what you are repeating. Keep repeating. Keep the clarity, keep the firmness, because your life will always follow the direction of the image you have of yourself. And now you know that this image is not fixed, it is malleable. And you have the power to shape it every day. With every thought, with every word, with every decision. Use this power wisely, because it is the key to everything you want to become. The time has come to talk about one of the most ignored forces by people who are constantly trying to improve their lives but never get anywhere. The power of decision. A true decision. Not an emotional decision made in the heat of the moment and forgotten days later, but the decision that marks the end of one phase and the beginning of another. There is real power in making a definitive decision. When you decide with conviction that you will live differently, when you declare to yourself that you are tired of scarcity and will build a life of abundance, something inside you changes. It's as if a new energy begins to move. Clarity appears, motivation is renewed. Direction is defined. Most people aren't trapped by a lack of opportunities, but by a lack of real decisions. They keep saying, "One day I'll change, one day I'll improve, one day I'll get out of this situation." But that one day never comes. Because it wasn't a genuine decision. It was just a weak wish, based on fleeting emotion. A true decision doesn't depend on emotion, it depends on commitment. It's when you understand that, no matter what happens, you will stay focused. That no matter how long things take, you won't back down. That even in the face of difficulties, you remain aligned with the life you want to live. That's the decision that changes everything. The decision to change your life is the root of all transformation. Before seeing the results in your wallet, you need to see the results in your attitude. How do you speak? How do you react? How do you behave when faced with challenges? People who have truly decided to live a life of wealth don't drag themselves emotionally through every obstacle. They don't let negative thoughts defeat them. They face each day with firmness. Why? Because they've already decided. And a real decision removes the maybe from your path. It removes the "what if it doesn't work out?" It removes the "but I'm afraid." The decision closes all doors of doubt and opens the door to focus. Most people live in a cycle of indecision, one foot in change, the other in fear. One day you believe, the next day you disbelieve. One day you act, the next day you sabotage yourself. And this cycle keeps the person exactly where they are, without moving forward, because all their energy is being spent on doubts and back and forth. Meanwhile, those who have decided clearly move forward. Even slowly, they advance. Because you have both feet in change, you are committed, not just excited. That's the difference between those who achieve and those who only wish. And here's a powerful truth. If you don't decide to live a rich life, you'll end up living whatever life is left over. You'll accept whatever comes your way. You'll live in survival mode. And surviving is the opposite of thriving. Surviving is accepting crumbs. Thriving is building a constant flow of growth. And that starts with a firm choice, spoken aloud, felt completely. A decision you write down, affirm, uphold, reinforce every day. Because the mind needs direction. If you don't clearly state where you want to go, it remains on autopilot, stuck in old patterns. Now pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and say to yourself, "Today I choose to live a life of wealth." Repeat it again, firmly. Feel the weight of the word decision. Feel the break it represents between the old and the new, between confusion and clarity, between scarcity and abundance. This decision needs to come from your mouth, not just your head. When you speak, you activate the mental command, and your brain begins to organize your behaviors according to this new order. Don't underestimate the power of speaking aloud. Words are codes that activate internal responses. From now on, everything you do needs to be connected to this decision. You will think like someone who has decided to prosper. You will act like someone who has decided to escape scarcity. You will choose like someone who has decided to be consistent, disciplined, and firm. This coherence between decision and behavior is what builds results. There is no magic. There is alignment. And when you are aligned with your decision, energy flows, ideas appear, courage is strengthened, clarity grows, and little by little, your external reality begins to reflect this internal decision. I want you to write in the comments now, "I have decided to live abundantly." This written sentence is a milestone. It represents the end of excuses. It represents the end of mental confusion. It represents the beginning of a new phase. A phase where you are no longer waiting for luck to change, but are building day after day the right mindset, the right habits, the right actions. A phase where you don't depend on anything external to take the first step. Because you have already understood that everything starts within. Repeat this decision every day. When you wake up, when you face a problem, when you doubt yourself. Remember, I have decided to live abundantly. This phrase needs to be like a foundation. When everything seems difficult, you return to it. When you feel afraid, you return to it. When you want to give up, you return to it. Because it's not just a phrase,